Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy GZTV. 2 of 3 videos where I'm obviously going to be on Streamlabs. I'm also going to have a universe mode for SmackDown coming later after the Prime Football League, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be a great night, guys. I'm very excited for WrestleMania. It's coming on in 26 minutes, so I gotta kind of speed through. I'm gonna get in depth on my NBA stuff. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna slow down that just because of this. But we have an album review for the self-titled Metallica album. One of the most best-selling albums of all time. We're going to go track by track. I'm going to explain my thoughts on the album, all that stuff. Explain each track, yada yada. You get the point. You've been here before. You've been here for my Sunday album reviews. But anyways, about the album. The eponymous fifth album from thrash metal icons Metallica, also known as the Black Album for its dark cover, marked a huge shift in sound for the band, one which would catapult them into being the biggest band in the world, while arguably diluting the elements that had once made them so vital and influential. The album debuted at number 1 on 10 album charts, including 4 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard. It certified 16-time platinum in America, and is the 24th best-selling album of all time, selling more copies than Bad, Nevermind, and even Backstreet's Back or Baby One More Time. That actually makes it the highest-selling album of the last 25 years. Oh, and it won them their 3rd Grammy in a row. Produced by Bob Rock, the whole songwriting process and focus of the album changed from previous records. Lyrics were more introspective, songs were shorter, and large drumming was similar. The album produced 5 singles: Enter Sandman, The Unforgiven, Nothing Else Matters, Wherever I May Roam, Sad But True. Fun fact, the album almost had a very different name. So, yeah, and then they decided that this usually when a self-titled album comes out, it really dictates where their career is going to go. It's very like it changes your career forever, like most self-titled albums. Like look at Playboy Cardi. I can't think of a whole lot of examples, but you guys know what I mean. First song is Enter Sandman. The lead single from Metallica's commercially successful self-titled album Enter Sandman was certified platinum, selling over 1 million copies. The song was Metallica's biggest radio hit, and it's considered their signature song. The song follows the theme of childhood fear and nightmares, with the eponymous Sandman symbolizing the sleep that he dreads. However, the Sandman of European folklore actually represents the bringer of good dreams. 20 years after the songs hold on. Let's see. Never mind. That's something else. Let's move on to Sad But True. The fifth and final single released from Metallica's seminal self-titled album, Sad But True, is about a person's darker side taking control. Influenced by the 1978 horror film Magic, starring Anthony Hopkins, the song is a monologue justifying the existence of this darker side, which in the film is symbolized by a foul-mouthed ventriloquist dummy. The song has been interpreted as an allusion to addiction, a struggle Hetfield has been open about, having previously entered rehab for alcohol and other addictions, and another being chocolate. The song was later sampled by Kid Rock on American Badass. Next is Holier Than Thou. Although described by James Hetfield as one of the sillier songs by the band, Holier Than You deals with the issue of a self-righteous person paraphrasing Jesus in the book of Matthew. Fun fact, Bob Rock initially suggested that this song should be the first single from Metallica. That's probably about all you need to know about him. They joked about him for years and years about that. Next is The Unforgiven, a metal ballad co-written by Ulrich, Hammett, and Hetfield. This song is about the struggles he had with religion related to his mom's death. His relatives did not want to give James' mom the treatment she needed because they thought God would help her through it. He starts to question the legitimacy of religion, as we all do. The horn sound intro is taken from the movie score of the appropriately titled The Unforgiven and reversed for legal reasons. Hetfield's singing was inspired by Chris Isaak's Wicked Game. He was used to screaming, not singing. Next track is Wherever I May Roam. Excuse me. A song about a drifter who just walks the earth and is perfectly content about being on the road all the time. As you know, Metallica has many shows on their tours and stuff. They're always on the road. It's kind of talking about that and it symbolizes that. Next is Don't Tread on Me. James Hetfield describes Don't Tread on Me as just one of those don't fuck with us songs. The track makes a obvious reference to the Gadsden flag, which features a rattlesnake, also found on this album's cover, with the slogan Don't Tread on Me underneath it. Several lyrics make direct reference to a letter Benjamin Franklin wrote to the Pennsylvania Journal in 1775, addressing what would become the Gadsden flag, like shining with brightness, always on surveillance, eyes that never close, emblem of vigilance, and never begins it, never, but once engaged, never surrenders. It's also worth noting that the guitar lead in the intro is the America melody from West Side Story. It can be heard in the movie if you go watch it, I guess. Through the Never is the next track, a reflection upon the universe and how mankind has taken its place in it, along with its never-ending appetite when it comes to thinking about the unknown and seeking knowledge and information. Years later, it would baptize the 2013 concert movie Metallica, Through the Never. They take a lot of these songs to heart. It's really interesting. Nothing Else Matters is the next track. On their controversial self-titled album, which came to be known as the Black Album, Nothing Else Matters was perhaps the greatest example of the new Metallica sound that alienated core fans. Frontman James Hetfield had been taking classical guitar lessons and wanted to show off his finger-picking skills in the introduction. The song grew out of an extension of a phone call James made with his girlfriend while on tour, and he was picking his guitar while on the phone. While the song does get heavy during the second guitar solo, it is for the most part a ballad about expressing your feelings, like an Emerson poem. Nothing Else Matters has become a song that any complete beginner who has never picked up a guitar could feel like they are playing Metallica for a few measures. Famed Hollywood composer Michael Kamen contributed an orchestrated part, which was mixed somewhat low in the song. To compensate, years later, Metallica did the S&M concert and an album with Kamen conducting the San Francisco Symphony, with Nothing Else Matters being a centerpiece and single. Moving on to Of Wolf and Man. The ninth track of Metallica's fifth studio album, Metallica, or dubbed by fans the Black Album. Of Wolf and Man follows a human shape-shifting into a wolf at full moon, told through the shapeshifter's perspective. The song was written by James Hetfield and composed by James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, and Kirk Hammett. They got some pretty interesting concepts on this record. The God That Failed is the next one. This entire song is about James Hetfield's mother and her refusal of cancer treatment because of her Christian Science beliefs. The beliefs are that you should not be healed by doctors nor take modern medication, whatever. I mean, I kind of believe in stuff like that. So when Hetfield's mother developed cancer, the only help she was given was in the form of prayer. She ultimately died. His father had already left the family a few years prior to Hetfield's mother's death, leaving him now without either parent, though father came back years later once James was already rich and famous. Oh, how the tables turned for that relationship, huh? My Friend of Misery is the next song. My Friend of Misery is a track about an outsider's view of someone wandering and self-pitying and having a very pessimistic view of the rest of the world. The song was supposed to be the album's instrumental track to follow the tradition from previous albums. However, Hetfield later changed this after favoring vocals. It's worth noting that the song was first played live in 2012 with Metallica's European Black Album tour, where they revisited each track of the album. That's just how legendary this was. They literally did a tour 20 years later. Actually, yeah, 20 years later. Next is, and final is The Struggle Within. Based on the melancholy lyrics, it seems the narrator of the song is a struggle within himself that has consumed him in his mind, consisting of a feeling, probably anxiety, depression, anger, or something else. I don't know. But it's a very interesting album. I really like it. There's a reason they're as legendary as they are. They definitely deserve all the sales they've gotten. I mean, they're very genre bending on this one. They're very style bending, if you will. Not really genre bending. They just changed it up, and a lot of people were very split on listening to their music. It was a very interesting time. Obviously, I wasn't alive then, but it definitely would have been interesting. There's a lot of things I wish I was alive for, as we all do, and this is definitely one of them. Rock taking off, man. I mean, obviously, it took off way before Metallica, even possibly 20 years before Metallica, but it would have been very interesting to see this era, because you got guys like Korn, you got guys like, well, Korn maybe a little later, Nirvana, you got so many bands. I mean, I can't think of a whole lot. Led Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, the Rolling Stones. There's just so many. The Ramones, the Doors, all those people. There were so many bands in the early 90s. Maybe I'm thinking too far back for some of those bands. I'm not that big of a rock fan. You can't hold me to a whole lot of these things because I'm very new to this. I'm going to get better. Green Day, that might be more early 2000s in terms of like when they actually got famous. I don't know. But I think this album's really good. Some of the tracks are a bit redundant, a bit repetitive. You can say that about a lot of rock albums, but I think there were definitely some tracks. And usually with Metallica here, like if the track doesn't sound good from the start, it's probably not going to be good. But I didn't get that feeling. I feel like though as a listener, that's kind of what people feel like. But anyways, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I don't have a whole lot of time to talk much more. I gave you guys a track by track analysis. I hope that's enough. I gave you guys a little bit of my feelings. I got to get into the NBA basketball because we have 15 games to cover. I missed 2 days. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Stay tuned for that. It should be a good time, I guess, talk about